All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are opening up a case file on a world that's built from crime, conspiracy, and some really cool interactive storytelling. It's part political thriller, part cinematic portrait, and part public investigation, all rolled into one. Let's dive in.
So we kick things off with this line. It's powerful, right? It just perfectly sets this gritty, triumphant, and super mysterious tone. And it makes you ask a ton of questions right away. Who is we? What was this beast? And man, what did it cost them to sink it?
Well, the we are these two. And check out how they're introduced. Not by their job titles, nope. They're introduced by their legendary accomplishments. You've got Rex Harlan, the man who cuffed a president. And on the other side, Claudia Moreau, the woman who broke a billionaire. These two aren't just agents, they're absolute forces of nature.
So who are these people, really? And what's this beast they just slayed? Let's actually set the scene for that opening quote, because this isn't the beginning of their story. This is the very end of a massive, monumental case.
Okay, so picture this. This moment grounds us completely. It's Christmas morning 2025. But our heroes? They're not at home opening gifts. They are standing on the rusted-out wreckage of their enemy's ship as the sun comes up. The vibe is triumphant for sure, but also just completely weathered and exhausted.
Let's get a closer look at Rex Harlan. 58 years old, rugged, got a scar over his eyebrow. But notice the little details, like how he's gripping the railing with white knuckles. This is a guy whose history is literally written on his face and in his posture. That steely resolve, it tells you everything you'll ever need to know about him.
And right there with him, you've got Claudia Moreau, aka the boss lady. She's 52, just as commanding. But while Rex is all this coiled tension, she's holding a vintage bottle of Dom Perignon. And her expression, it's described as calm fury. I love that. She's not just celebrating, she's savoring her enemy's absolute defeat.
So this whole victory scene, it's the end of a long, incredibly dangerous investigation. It's the end of a complete nightmare. So, what in the world was the case they just managed to close? Let's rewind and go back to the beginning.
It all revolves around this right here. Taste number 2. The whole thing is called the Krusty Krucifixion, and it's described as a political crime horror story. I mean, that subtitle alone, they didn't just kill a man, they crucified a nation. Tells you the stakes were just impossibly high.
And this is where it all kicks off. A U.S. senator is assassinated. Very public, very brazen. And that one single act of violence, that's the thread that, once you start pulling it, unravels a conspiracy that goes all the way to the highest, and I mean highest, levels of power.
You know, when you really break it down, this entire insane conspiracy can be boiled down to just a few stark, chilling numbers. It all starts with one senator,
who was brought down by one single bullet.
Which all leads to the discovery of one daughter sacrificed by her own father.
And what was it all for? To avert one world war. I mean, the stakes just could not be higher.
And this right here, this just illustrates the depth of the rot. I mean, look at this list of players. It connects a victimized daughter, a teenage girl, an oil prince, a billionaire, and a sitting U.S. president. The conspiracy literally stretched from a sex-soaked yacht all the way to the Oval Office.
But what makes this story so gripping isn't just the jaw-dropping plot. It's the really unique style in which it's told. It's designed to feel less like you're reading a story and more like you're having an experience.
The creator uses this really specific term to describe the whole aesthetic, an ultra-realistic cinematic portrait. And the comparison to Dune meets The Last of Us is just perfect, right? It immediately makes you think of epic scale, gritty survival, and a world you can almost reach out and touch.
And that feeling is built on these kinds of tangible, gritty details. It's not just about what happens, but about the rust flakes, the dried blood in the cracks, the sweat on Rex's brow. It's all these little things that make the world feel so incredibly real and lived in.
So, the story is laid out, the villains are identified, the scene is set with this hyper-realism, but then there's a massive twist in how this case was actually solved, and this is where it gets really, really interesting.
The author poses this central question, right? It's the final piece of the puzzle in Senator Callum's assassination. But here's the thing, she doesn't actually answer it herself.
Nope, the answer came directly from the audience. And this is the project's most groundbreaking feature. The official canon, the truth of who pulled the trigger, was not decided by the creator.
It was decided by something called a public verdict. The audience was challenged to submit their own theories, and their consensus determined the official identity of the murderer. So that scene on the yacht on December 25, 2025? That was literally the day the public officially closed the case file. How wild is that?
But here's the thing. Just because case number 2 is closed doesn't mean the investigation is over. In fact, for you, it might just be beginning.
See, this world is a lot bigger than just this one story. This whole universe actually began with a different investigation. Case number 1, a cold case called Ashes to Ashes, which is still open for discussion and for you to re-examine.
And that brings us to the final and most crucial point. You, the audience, are not just a passive observer here. In this world, you are invited to be the director. You have the files. You have the evidence. You can reopen cold cases. You can challenge the official verdicts. And you can continue the investigation. So really, the only question left is, where are you going to start?